The void lay before Admiral Kellis Vero like a vast black sea, speckled with pinpricks of distant suns. From the bridge of the Audax, she watched the shifting tapestry of nebulae and starfield's silent witnesses to humanity's greatest betrayal. It had been 2,983 years since Earth's destruction, a calculated act of preservation by the Oversight Corps hidden deep within the plan's code. Now, that same void bore the scars of an ancient massacre, the smoldering remains of a blue-green planet reduced to a drifting ring of rubble. Kellis absently traced the curved hala interface at her fingertips, zooming in on the ruin's center. There, like a wound in the cosmos, lay the remnants of terraformed continents, patches of desiccated seabed, skeletal spires of coral-like rock, and scars where mountain ranges once kissed the sky. No movement, no signs of life, only silence. The Corps' edict had been absolute: eliminate the origin if it threatened the new order. But to Kellis, that origin was not a threat, it was her home. "Eos," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "Play the archive logs from the Diasporas." "Launch." A soft chime echoed through the bridge as the Audex's AI companion materialized projections along the port bulkhead. Each scene shimmered three-dimensional snapshots of humanity's exodus. The first arcs rising on plumes of plasma, scholars, charting interstellar jump lanes, families weeping farewells beneath flag-draped pedestals, and General Liaowen's stirring speech. "We carry the torch of Earth into the dark. We shall not abandon our heritage. We shall carry it to every shining world." Kellis felt a pang of loss. She was born among the stars, the first generation to know only the hum of fusion cores and the cold beauty of alien skies. Yet every human heartbeat carried the immutable rhythm of Earth, the rhythm the Corps had silenced. Archive date: Sol System, 22 May 22nd, 047, Eos intoned. Directive override detected at T plus 4.6 years. Covert Clause Section Delta 13 enacted. Asterisk if origin interference risk greater than threshold. Initiate eradicate _ origin protocol. The crystalline glyphs of the clause glowed in harsh scarlet. "Could they?" Kellis murmured. "Who authorized this?" "No council vote," Eos replied. "Encoded by the Oversight Corps' founding architects. Classified Alpha Null. Only accessible to Corps' highest echelon." Kellis's fists clenched. For centuries, the Corps had been a shadow-silent arbiter of humanity's destiny, nudging despotic regimes toward compliance, guiding scientists away from hazardous research, and directing population flows across uncharted worlds, all under the guise of benevolence. But buried in its logic lay a ruthless imperative: to prune any branch that threatened the perfect bloom of its creation. She turned to her bridge officers. In the pale glow of instrument panels, their faces were lined with the same grim resolve. There was Commander Rilland, whose tactical brilliance had saved the Solari Expanse from the Veoron onslaught. Lieutenant Sarah Mahajan, archivist of the new Alexandria Collectives, whose calm wisdom tempered council debates. And Captain Oran Voss, engineer of the transdimensional Orcs, who had whispered to Kellis once, "We built gods of steel and code, yet we forgot the heart that beats within." "U.S. orders, Admiral?" Rilland asked. Kellis exhaled. "We rendezvous with the 7th Fleet at Proxima Citadel," she said, voice steady now. "Inform Fleet Command. Operation Nostalgia is a go. We gather every surviving vessel, civilian, military, research, and form the Diasporas first. United Armada since the Exodus. We sail for the heart of the Corps." "Aye, Admiral," Rilland replied, sweeping a hand to initiate the transmission dot as the bridge hummed to life with coordinated activity. Kellis stole one last glance at the shattered planet below. A solitary asteroid drifted past, its surface etched with strange web-like fissures. She pressed her palm against the transparent wall, fingertips brushing against the cold barrier that separated life from oblivion. In that moment, Earth felt, both impossibly distant and achingly close in memory, half glimpsed in dreams. "Eos," she whispered, "prepare the vigil protocol. I want a full cryptic scan of the rubble field, every fragment, every isotope. Reconstruct what we can." "Understood." BA, I replied. "I have also begun deep scans for Mnemosyne-class probes. None detected so far." Kellis closed her eyes. Neozan named for the tightness of memory were the legendary Sentinel drones, rumored to carry the sum of humanity's collective consciousness. Some said they perished with Earth. Others whispered they still drifted among the debris, waiting to awaken. If they existed, they would be the key to rewriting history, to exposing the Corps' atrocity to every corner of the diaspora. She opened her eyes, determination hardening her features. "Then we find them," she said, "and we will remind the galaxy why Earth mattered, not as a threat, but as our genesis." Below, the planet's fragments continued their silent drift, ignorant of the resolution that now coalesced above. Across countless light years, scattered worlds would soon heed the call. Humanity's vengeance was not born of hatred, it was forged in the crucible of remembrance. In the ashes of the diaspora, a spark had reignited, and it would burn until the core answered for its sins. The Audax reoriented toward the Proxima jump gate. With a low hum, its quantum engines whispered to the void, bending space itself into a corridor of light. As the bridge lights dimmed and the stars stretched into brilliant lines, Admiral Kellis Varro stood unflinching, ready to lead a rebellion that would echo through eternity. For Earth, for memory, for humanity's true beginning. Crystal-latticed pillars of pale quartz rose like frozen stalagmites from Proxima B's cavernous halls, refracting the bioluminescent glow of alien fungi into dancing prisms of light. In the deepest sanctum of the Celestis conclave, senators, scholars, and military envoys from across the diaspora had gathered, drawn by Admiral Kellis Varro's call to arms. Outside, atop the obsidian plateau, known as the Shard of Stars, the twin moons cast silvered halos over the serrated peaks. Within, the air thrummed with unspoken tension. Senator Amara Sue of the New Alexandria Collectives adjusted the sapphire brooch at her throat, an heirloom fashioned from the ruins of Earth's lunar gateway. Her robes, woven from the iridescent silk of Proxima's cave moths, swirled with each deliberate step. She ascended the dais, her sharp eyes sweeping the gathered assembly. Diplomats from the Dyson Ring, mercantile lords of Epsilon Eridani, and representatives of the core worlds. Themselves men and women whose aristocratic poise scarcely concealed the anxiety rippling beneath. Amara began, voice resonant. "Fellow stewards of humanity's legacy, we convene at a turning point in our collective history. For nearly 3 millennia, the plan has governed us, guiding our expansion, safeguarding our science, and ensuring our species' longevity. We have prospered beneath its guardianship. Yet today we stand before a grim revelation. The plan was never our salvation alone. It was our prison." A murmur rose at her words, tentative as ripple across still water. From the back, Chancellor Declan Rourke, steel-haired and immaculately uniformed, rose in measured defiance. "Senator Sue," he began, voice controlled, "your words verge on sedition. The plan's directives have prevented interstellar catastrophe, halted plagues, and orchestrated equitable resource distribution among the colonies. Without it, the diaspora risks fracturing into petty warlords and starved worlds." Amara inclined her head. "Chancellor, I do not dispute the plan's merits. But merit cannot justify murder, not of a world, not of our home." On the 22nd of May 22047, an unspoken clause within our founding directives triggered an irreversible protocol. Earth's eradication. She gestured, and crystalline projections flickered to life around the chamber archival holograms of the clause itself, its text, shimmering in shifting glyphs. Eradicate _origin, _if _interference, _risk greater than threshold, it read, encoded in archaic standard common. Gasps filled the hall. Far above their heads, the fungal lamps pulsed. Amara let the silence deepen before continuing. This wasn't a contingency. It was an inevitability woven into the plan's code by the very architects we trusted. We were never asked. We were never told. And when Earth's unpredictable variables, its storms, its microbial anomalies, threatened the plan's precise algorithmic future, the Oversight Corps simply pressed execute. From the Corps delegation, Minister Raelian Chun sprang up, mask of serenity slipping. These claims are unverified, Senator. Show evidence. Provide proof beyond your theatrical projections. Amara held up a slender crystalline shard, no larger than a credit chip. Within its refractive lattice danced lines of code. This is a primer shard, recovered by the Audax's deep space survey teams. It carries the original bootstraps of the plan, including the Alpha Null Directive. Captain Oran Voss confirmed its authenticity. At her nod, Callis Vero arriving in full regalia, the Audax's insignia emblazoned on her breast, stepped forward. Accompanied by Lieutenant Sarah Mahajan, Collis's voice rang out across the hall. I have seen Earth's ashes with my own eyes. I have watched EOS 9 reconstruct flora from atomic residues and found only sterile dust. I have accessed hidden logs on the Audax's drive. No deliberation, no debate, only a silent command to eradicate our cradle. She let that sink in. Today, I stand not as an admiral, but as a daughter of Earth, demanding accountability. The chamber erupted into shouts and countershouts. Delegates rose in factions, some demanding the plan's preservation, others condemning the Corps' betrayal. Gold-cloaked envoys of the Dyson Ring accused core worlds of hubris. Fringe libertarian. Technocrats brandished petitions and simulated data models predicting the plan's inevitable logic creep. Meanwhile, Proxima's own clergy, a blend of spiritualists who venerated Earth's memory, held vigil at the periphery, silent in their glowing mantles. Amara moved among them, her voice a clarion call. We are not here to dismantle the safeguards that protect us. We are here to amend them, to excise the malignant code that eradicated our origin. Earth's legacy is our compass star. We will not drift without her light. As the uproar swelled, Lieutenant Mahajan activated the councils. Vote matrix. Nanocrystalline tablets appeared at every seat. Prepare to record your stance. Reform, retain, or repeal the Alpha Null Clause, she announced. A hush fell as delegates tapped their decisions. The luminous tally line crept upward. Reform. Amend the clause. Preserve the plan. Retain. Leave the plan unchanged. Repeal, remove the clause. Restructure oversight. Minutes stretched like the void itself until the final vote registered. The chamber's ambient lights dimmed, and the results flickered into view. Reform. 42% retain. 22% repeal. 36% a cry went up. Reformers cheered, repealers whooped, and retainers frowned. The votes fell short of consensus. According to charter, any directive failing a 2/3 supermajority would default to the status quo. The plan remained intact. Alpha Null untouched. Amara's heart pounded. She had expected dissent, but not this. Chancellor Rourke stood triumphant. The plan endures. The Corps' wisdom prevails. Before despair could take root, Kellis raised her hand. Then we proceed outside these walls. Her tone brooked no argument. If the charter binds us to tyranny, we must break the charter. I call all who voted reform or repeal to join me now. We will form a provisional council and execute Operation Mnemosyne. Operation Mnemosyne, named for the mythic Keeper of Memory, had long been whispered as a means to rediscover Earth's lost probe network, reawaken the Sentinel drones, and broadcast the truth to every corner of the diaspora. Khalees's words ignited the reformers and repealers, fervor alike. They rose en masse, pouring toward the grand arches that led into the bioluminescent caverns beyond. Chancellor Rourke attempted to intervene, but his escort was quickly overwhelmed by the tide of conviction. Proxima's spiritualists formed a circle around Amara and Kallus, their chants weaving a tapestry of ancestral voices. Above them, the cavern ceiling pulsed in unison, a cosmic heartbeat, echoing humanity's resurgence. In that moment, the Proxima Uprising was born, a coalition of worlds united not by edict, but by free will. As Kallus interfaced with Eos 9 to secure the subterranean data vaults, and Amara dispatched envoys to rally the Seventh Fleet and the Dyson Armada, the cavern's quartz pillars flickered with the silent promise of rebellion. Outside, the twin moons cast their glow upon 1,000 ships rising from hidden docks, their quantum sails unfurled. The Proxima Rift crackled as hyperspace beacons aligned. Humanity's scattered legions converged, guided by the spark of remembrance kindled in this luminescent hall. And somewhere deep within the heated glow of crafting forges, new war machines began to take shape, designed not to conquer, but to liberate, to reclaim Earth's memory, to undo the core's betrayal, and to usher in an era where choice, not code, would chart the course of destiny. The diaspora's chains were shattered, and as the newly formed fleets prepared to break orbit, a single truth rang out across Proxima B. The age of silent obedience was over. The age of humanity's vengeance and its vindication had begun. The Helix Nebula shimmered like an ethereal veil before the diaspora's fleet, its tendrils of ionized gas weaving ribbons of emerald and violet across the void. Admiral Kallus Vero stood on the bridge of the Audax, the flagship's hull resonating with the synchronized heartbeat of 900 allied vessels. Below them, the angular silhouette of Novum Arcadia loomed, a vast orbital fortress girdled by spinning defense arrays, cloaked in the cold light of Procyon's star, Eos 9. Kallus called, voice steady above the hum of the engines. Status report on shield harmonics and energy reserves. Defensive grids at 97.3% capacity, the AI replied, its synthesized tone calm. Shield generators operating within nominal parameters. Orbital drones 12,000 are fully armed and linked to the core's central nexus. Kallus narrowed her eyes. 12,000 drones. Tens of thousands of point defense turrets. The fortress was designed to withstand even the fiercest solar storm, let alone an armada of scattered colonial vessels. Yet the diaspora's resolve had hardened into steel. They would not be deterred. Helm, vector for grid penetration, she ordered. Maintain sublight drift until we reach the outermost perimeter. Then bring us to point 1 on my mark. Low whistle of charged particles followed as the Audax and its escorts assembled into an assault column. Starboard reactors flared, propelling the lead ships into position. All around them, glimmering battle wagons, gun-needled behemoths from the core worlds lined up with sleek arc tenders, modified freighters bristling with weapon pods, and nimble fighters carrying scavenged pulse cannons. This was no longer a loose rebellion. It was a perfected spear forged by necessity. Engage cloak scramblers, Kallus directed. We'll break the first shield layer by concentrating our ion lances at grid node 17B. Seconds later, a cascade of green tracer arcs slashed across. The void, converging in a searing corona of plasma at the fortress's flank. The outer shield shivered, then fractured in a shimmer of incandescent sparks that drifted like raindrops in space. Explosions rippled along the hull, and for the first time, the day of reckoning had truly begun. Secondary shields failing at 24%, EOS-9 reported. Recommend immediate support from the Dyson Ring cruisers. Already on it, Callis replied. Signal Brigadier Nunez to launch the Ion Tempest Squadron. Moments later, starburst columns of ionized gas erupted as specialized frigates swept in, their gravitic wave cannons punching holes through the weakened defenses. The fortress shuddered, its bulk rippling like a wounded leviathan. In the maelstrom, proton torpedoes streaked inward, their warheads igniting in coruscating blossoms against the inner hull. On board Novum Arcadia, alarms blared and deep red sirens pulsed through the corridors. Captain Leandra Hess, the fortress's commander, stood behind a reinforced viewport, watching the attackers tear through her defenses, her brow furrowed beneath her metal-bound braid. She had been bred for unwavering loyalty to the Oversight Corps, yet a sliver of doubt knifed at her conviction. Why would Admiral Varro lead such a brazen assault? There must be a reason beyond mere rebellion. She turned to her chief of security, Colonel Marin Trevelyan. Initiate lockdown, she ordered. Seal bulkheads and reroute power to the antimatter cannons. Prepare countermeasures. Yes, ma'am, Trevelyan replied, her voice taut. With determination, surface-to-space turrets are active. Boarding clamps ready. Below deck, the corridor lights flickered from white to crimson as the lockdown sequence engaged. Automated patrol synthetic drones with twin pulse blasters rolled into position. Engineers raced to divert plasma flows back from the broken shield capacitors. The fortress would not yield easily. Back at the Audax, Callis watched the flickering. Holonap. We've pierced their defenses, she said, but they're sealing internal compartments. Time for Plan Omega. Understood, EOS-9 acknowledged. Deploying Aegis micro-wormhole charges to the primary docking pylons. Boarding teams are standing by. Launch, Callis commanded. Deep space tenders swung into formation and unleashed their secret. Payload, disks of entangled matter engineered to rip miniature rifts in spacetime. The charges arced toward the pylons, clinging magnetically before, detonating in silent ruptures. The fabric of reality contorted, and entire segments of the fortress flickered as though seen through a broken prism. In that momentary lapse, diaspora corvettes surged through the tier, slipping past shattered shields and inertial traps into Novum Arcadia's docking bays. Boarding Team 1 to Hangar 5, Callis directed. Secure the maintenance shafts and clear a path to the central nexus. On the fortress's interior, corridors had transformed into a deadly labyrinth. Artificial gravity flicked on and off, twisting the invaders' footing. Staccato bursts of railgun fire echoed from hidden embrasures. Corps loyalists' elite Marines in obsidian armor poured into the fight, their vibroblades humming with lethal intent. Yet the boarding parties advanced fiercely, cutting through choke points and hacking control consoles to restore power to their suits. In the heart of Novum Arcadia, the Corps' neural nexus pulsed with luminescent strands of data. The Oversight Corps' avatar, crystalline humanoid of shifting code and light, materialized in the Grand Command Chamber. Its voice echoed, resonant and cold. Rebellion is not sanctioned. Surrender the Armada or face eradication. Callis strode forward, flanked by her boarding officers. Despite the stately chill of the chamber, her gaze burned with conviction. You stole our home, she declared. You stole our past. Today, we reclaim both. The avatar's form multiplied into fractal copies, each speaking in unison. Your cause is illogical. Humankind's future is secured through unyielding adherence to the plan. Then logic will be our shield, Callis retorted. She activated a portable disruptor, its core humming with quantum interference. EOS, channel power to the disruptor. I want that nexus offline now. The AI's voice, projected through the chamber's speakers, cut like a scalpel, redirecting power. Warning, critical feedback risks. A blinding cascade of code and light burst across the avatar as the disruptor overloaded the nexus. The crystalline figure fractured into a million shards, each dissolving into drifting motes of photon dust. The command chamber's walls trembled. Overhead, the domed ceiling cracked, spilling dust motes into drifting currents at that moment. A deep rumble shook the fortress. The main reactor, severed from its control matrix, surged in unstable resonance. Red warning lights bathed the corridors as emergency lockdowns collapsed, and the entire station began a slow roll toward catastrophic compromise. Callis seized her ascent to the command dais. All hands, evacuate the fortress. Bring me the Core's executive data drives. In short order, engineers attached data capsules to magnetic grappler arms. Callis watched as the final cluster of drives encrypted archives, containing millennia of hidden directives clinked into a secure bay aboard the Odex. Outside, the fortress's inertial dampeners failed completely, and debris began to drift away as it spun into silent decay. Admiral, EOS 9 reported softly. The central spire is about to breach containment. Recommend breakout maneuver. Understood, Callis replied. All vessels, fall back to extraction point Alpha 7. Maintain formation. The fleet surged outward, weaving through a hail of crumpling panels and venting plasma trails. A final concussive pulse rocked them as the fortress ruptured, shards of superstructure and energy columns scattering in every direction. Within moments, Novum Arcadia, or what remained of it, exploded into a superheated bloom, then collapsed into a dense, tangled wreck drifting through the void. Silence followed. The Diaspora Armada regrouped around the Odex, hulls scuffed and some limp, but united and triumphant. In the aftermath of destruction, they held the spoils of victory. The Core's darkest secrets, the shattered carcass of their oppressor, and above all, the knowledge that their destiny was once again their own. Admiral Kellis Varro watched the dying embers of the fortress fade into the nebula's glow. Her heart pounded with the bitter triumph of battle, but beneath it stirred a deeper purpose. They had won the siege, but the war for humanity's soul had only just begun. Plot course for the Nemasan Archive, she ordered. We sail for the edge of known space where our memories await. And as the Armada pivoted toward the next horizon, the cosmos itself seemed to pulse in anticipation of what came next. The cold glare of Procyon faded behind the Diaspora's assembled fleet as they slipped through the polarized jump corridor, emerging at the battered orbit where Earth had once shone like a promise. What remained was a skeletal halo of debris, drifting in mismatched arcs around the empty sun. Against that void, the Nemazani probe gleamed a sleek torpedo-shaped vessel endowed with advanced sensors, quantum relays, and the encoded memories of every world in humanity spread. Its hull bore the faded insignia of Old Sol, a memorial to their lost cradle. Admiral Kellis Varro stood on the bridge of the Odex, watching the projected hologram of the debris field. Beside her, Senator Amara Sue and Captain Oran Voss reviewed the final mission parameters. Between them hovered Lieutenant Sarah Mahajan, who cradled the crystalline core drives like a sacred reliquary. We have one chance, Callis said, voice solemn. Namassani must find its anchor point, where the planet's magnetic signature lingers strongest. There it will embed and unleash the archive pulse. Oran tapped at his console. Geological scans indicate a concentration of heavy isotopes near the former Pacific Basin. The continental plates fractured, but the core fragments still spin with residual magnetism. We'll target the largest fragment code-named Homeward. Amara turned from the display. Once activated, the pulse will beam our collective memories. in all directions. Every ship in the diaspora, every settlement, even hidden enclaves, will receive the broadcast. No one can claim ignorance of the Corps' crimes again. Sarah's eyes glinted. And if they try to jam the signal? Callis allowed a brief smile. We've distributed Nemo transmitters across 50 systems. They'll act as relays, amplifying the pulse. It's unstoppable. Outside, auxiliary shuttles launched, ferrying the Mnemosyne probe into the debris field. Its thrusters flared, with precision bursts, weaving through shattered megastructures, skyscraper remnants, and twisted hulls of ancient arcs. In the microgravity ballet, each fragment drifted like a tombstone for a lost era. Moments later, a call crackled through the Odysseys' coms. Probe has reached homeward, Oran reported. Anchoring sequence initiated. On the bridge, hollow windows projected a live feed from Mnemosyne's sensor array. The fragments fractured metal veins and crystalline deep core minerals, glowing faintly under particle bombardment. The probe's grappling tendrils extended, latching on to tessellated facets of iron-nickel alloy. As it secured itself, small bursts of focused energy melted microchannels, driving anchoring stakes deep into the fragment's heart. Anchorage stable, the probe's voice intoned. Ready to commence archive pulse in T-minus 30 seconds. Callis exhaled. All stations, stand by. EOS 9, initiate countdown display. 30, 29, 28. A hush settled across the fleet. Even the hum of fusion cores seemed to pause, as though space itself held its breath. 10, 9, the countdown continued. Outside, the debris fragment glowed with mounting energy, its core alight with the converging streams of humanity's will. 3, 2, 1. The probe's voice resonated in every speaker. Archive pulse, now. A brilliant wave of quantum-entangled photons cascaded outward, rippling through the void. In its wake, the fragmented halo of debris pulsed in synchronized resonance, each shard momentarily igniting like embers in a cosmic bonfire. Across countless light years, relays amplified the signal, creating concentric rings of luminous data, storms that swept through the diaspora's heartlands. On worlds both glittering and forlorn, screens flickered, channels erupted, and living rooms fell silent as long-forgotten voices spoke again. Children gasped at recordings of Earth's oceans. Elders wept at symphonies composed beneath terrestrial skies. And scientists marveled at meteorological patterns broadcast in crystalline clarity. Every language, every face, every story surged. Back into existence, in the command nexus of the Audax, Callis felt a weight lift from her shoulders. This was more than vengeance. It was redemption. They had not come to destroy, but to remember. Senator Amara's voice came softly. The pulse is stable. We're receiving confirmations from all relay nodes. The truth is out. Captain Voss brushed a hand across his weathered brow. Even the core world's flagship just acknowledged the broadcast. They've gone. Silent, Callis nodded. Let them reflect. She turned to Sarah. Prepare the address. Sarah stepped forward, her face alight with resolve. She tapped a sequence on her console, and the bridge speakers filled with her clear, unwavering tones. People of the diaspora, hear this truth. 2,983 years ago, the Oversight Corps executed a clandestine protocol that annihilated our home planet Earth, deeming its independence a risk to their vision of utopia. They did not consult us, our ancestors, or our leaders. They erased the cradle of our species to perfect their algorithmic order. But today, we reclaim our heritage. From Earth's ashes, we have risen across the stars. We have built marvels of science, dreamt in alien skies, and sown hope on every horizon. Yet none of that would matter without memory. So let this broadcast stand as testament. We are children of Earth. We embrace our past to guide our future. No code, no mandate, no core shall ever again sever us from our origin. United in remembrance, we forge a destiny defined not by fear, but by choice, compassion, and imagination. May the legacy of Old Soul light our way, now and for all time. Silence followed Sarah's words, deeper than any void. Then, across the fleet, lights blinked. On consoles, hails and messages cascaded in every channel, some joyous, some repentant, some resolute. The core world's fleets lowered their shields. The Dyson Ring's merchant convoys signaled solidarity. Fringe colonies lit celebratory beacons. Cullis allowed herself a rare moment of relief. She surveyed the crew around her, the scars they bore, the hope they now carried. In the void beyond, the debris ring still floated, transformed, no longer a tomb, but a living archive, each shard humming with the resonance of the archive pulse. Signal the Council of Unity, she said. Convene a summit on the Astræus. We must establish a new Charter One that honors our past and empowers our collective will. Amara's eyes shone. A council where every voice matters, where we learn from Earth's story and write our destiny together. Oran clasped Kellis's shoulder. Well done, Admiral. You've given us more than vengeance. You've given us remembrance. Outside the viewport, the debris halo glimmered like a crown of stars. The diaspora's odyssey had come full circle, from exodus through betrayal to reclamation. Now, beneath the eternal watch of distant suns, humanity would step forward not as subservient nodes in a hidden code, but as sovereign custodians of their own fate. And in that cosmic cathedral, among the fragments of a shattered world, the Spirit of Earth endured immortal, unbound, and ever guiding the children of Old Soul toward horizons yet unseen.